Hello and welcome, this is Mouse Gunner, and we're going to continue our career in Kerbal Space Program. Now, I did some adjustments with the audio settings, so I apologize in the first few videos if you couldn't really hear much of what was going on because I had the sound levels kind of wonky, and since then I hope I've fixed that, and I have to find out here after the recording's all done, but I did adjust a lot of the sounds around, so you will be hearing a lot more of, I also turned back on the music, but hopefully you'll be hearing a lot more of the ambient sound, the sound effects in general of the spacecraft and what have you. In any case, last we left off, we had just finished our first suborbital flight, which allowed us to unlock quite a lot of things. So, one of the first things that I noticed was that we unlocked a lot of missions now. Now, the problem is, though, we can only actually use a couple missions at a time. See, our max right here says 2, and I'm noticing that I have a max of 2. That is something that could have helped me out when I first started playing, because I accidentally didn't select a mission that would have been easy to complete. So, it probably would be a good idea to go ahead and upgrade to the next level of our mission control. The only problem is, we also want to upgrade our vehicle assembly building because right now our max part support is only 30, which is going to really limit what missions we can do. Unfortunately, the amount of money that we need to upgrade that is more than we have. So we need to figure out a way to raise capital, and I honestly think that these missions is the best way to do that. So I think this upgrade is a very good thing to take. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and upgrade our mission control. So now we can take 7 missions, which is good. Especially considering how we have a lot of these research and development, or R&D, missions now. Essentially, because we unlock some research, now we have missions to essentially test the different equipment. Now, we've got one here for this liquid fuel engine. We have another one for a parachute. We have another one for a solid fuel booster. We have yet another solid fuel booster to test. 3 solid fuel boosters to test. And, excuse me, a radial mounted parachute to test. As well as, it looks like a radial decoupler. So a lot of things to test. So let's just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 things to test. We have 7 missions. So that's going to be nice. Now, I don't know if the stars or how difficult these missions are to achieve, or what. Wow, some of these expire in not a whole lot of time. Now, this is also game time, though. So, as we saw, we haven't really gone through much game time, even though we've done quite a few missions now. We also have perform visual surveys of Kerbal. I kind of already looked at a lot of these missions ahead of time, and especially this essentially means that I have to go and do a crew report at a certain height above a landmark, which was that landmark that was on the map that I was like, what is that? Well, I guess that's why that's here. We have a mission now to go over there and kind of check it out. That's a little bit more problematic because that requires a lot more, flight control and everything. So not sure if I want to do that. And not only that, these can have the bonus of unlocking science for me as well, which is something I definitely want. Now, we also have a couple very VIP missions. Now, these are going to be problematic to achieve, mostly because the capsules we have right now can only hold 1 crew member. So I'm going to assume we're going to need capacity to hold at least 2 people. And the problem with that is our parts limit. We just can't, really, because we have to get, according to the mission, we have to get them into suborbital flight. Well, we're just barely achieving that with what part limit we have. So that would be kind of hard to pull off, in my opinion. Although it appears we get quite a lot of reputation as a result of completing this mission. It does have a 4-day expiration, so I don't think it's that big of a deal if we don't take it. But in any case, I definitely want to take this mission. As we get an advance of 8,000 currency, on completion we get another 21,000, 3 science, and 6 reputation. So I think this is definitely worth taking. Now, the one thing, though, is there were some kind of specific things here. It said that, essentially, I have to perform this task, activate the part through the staging sequence when all test conditions are met. Now, I'm not sure if we just have to activate the part, or if it actually has to meet all of these guidelines, because if so, it has to be at a very specific altitude, and we have to be going a very specific speed range for it to unlock. So that might be something that we have to try out a couple times before we really figure out. But our deadline is quite far away, so that seems to be okay for me anyway. Alright, so let's see. Let's go ahead and just do all of our test things, as long as they think that, like, there's something that we can do. So we have this parachute, and again, roughly, it looks like exactly the same guidelines. So we'll go ahead and accept this one. The solid fuel booster, it looks like we just have to activate it. So that's a real easy mission to do. So RT10 Hammer Solid Fuel Booster might be one of the first missions we unlock. It doesn't give us a lot of rewards, though, but we're going to still do it. We also have this Solid Fuel Booster, which it looks like also we just have to activate it. So that's an easy mission to do. Okay, now we have the Thumper Solid Fuel Booster, and it looks like we have to be a specific height and speed before we can use it, although the rewards are much greater. Now this is a 2-star mission, so again, I don't know if that means it's a harder mission to complete. For instance, Orbit Kerbal for us right now is kind of a hard mission to complete, so it's a 3-star mission. Now, as you see, there are penalties for failing, but as long as it's like these other missions, where we've got a deadline that's, a year or more, I don't think it will be that hard to complete these. We just have to make that extra effort to do so. So let's go ahead and grab these missions as well. So we have to test this solid fuel booster. And then finally we have a radial mounted parachute, which also has, specific guidelines on when it needs to be launched. So we're going to take this one as well. And we get, quite a bit of advanced currency by doing this. And then finally we have the radial decoupler. And as long as we make sure Orbit Kerbal does not expire before we take it, I think we're going to be fine. And this one here, looks like all we have to do is just, escape trajectory. I'm not sure exactly what escape trajectory is. Does that mean we're escaping just, that might be, a hard one to do. What was the other one that we took that was 2 stars? I'm not exactly sure what escape trajectory is. If I'm remembering correctly, escape trajectory means we're going to actually escape the gravitational pull of Kerbal, which, for our point in development, that may be a really hard mission to do. It might still be worth taking it because we get a lot of currency. Another mission that we probably want to take, though, is the Orbit Kerbal. We don't have to make a decision right away for a lot of these missions, as a lot of them have multiple days before they will go away. This is the only one that will go away soon, and I think I'm going to let this one go because you don't get a lot of rewards, but you have to do a lot of very specific mission elements that I'm not sure how easily we'll be able to pull off. But I'm thinking with this one's going to be rather hard to pull off because I'm not sure exactly what they mean by escape trajectory. I don't know if they mean we're going to be leaving the gravitational pull of Kerbal, or if we just have to leave the atmosphere. That's the thing that I don't get, because with this here, it sounds like we still have to be on Kerbal. So to have escape trajectory where we're escaping the gravitational pull of Kerbal and we're no longer orbiting it, you couldn't actually be on Kerbal unless you just had massive thrust while you're still on the... I don't know how you do that. Well, you know what? We'll take it because it's a big reputation hit if we don't do it, but not exactly sure what they mean by escape trajectory. And I just want to see, maybe it's simpler than it really is. Sounds, anyway. Okay, so I apologize, the first 10 minutes of this video is me just taking up missions. But now it's time to actually do some of them. So let's go back to our mission control and see what we can do very easily. So we have this one, and we have to do it at 12 to 1400 meters. I'm sorry, 12,000 to 14,000 meters, and we have to be going this speed. For our parachute, we have to be 14,000 to 16,000 meters and going roughly this speed. So when I activate the parachute, it's going to be very important, and I might just focus on certain elements of our mission. So for instance, these two missions here are very easy to complete. All I have to do is just do them. So what we might do here is just focus on certain missions, and I think because we're going to start off, and I've already taken up quite a lot of the video, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do the parachute, because this has very specific guidelines, so I have to make sure to remember 14,000 to 16,000 meters, activate the parachute. These I just have to activate them at all to complete them, so that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead and build a craft. This is going to be our X3. And we're going to build it specifically. It was the RT5 and the RT10 were the solid fuel boosters we needed to do. The Thumper had like kind of its own special mission. If we can also do the swivel engine mission at the same time, that would be nice. But I'm not going to count on it. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab this. Now we need a Mark 16 parachute, which is this. So this is mostly what we're focusing on. I'm going to do, excuse me, I'm going to do a decoupler. Then I'm going to do a fuel tank. And as I said, I'm more worried about doing the testing than I am about doing anything else. So we're going to try and focus on doing this at, what was it, 12 to 16,000 meters, firing this thing off. Hopefully that will complete the mission. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want another decoupler. Oop, structural is what I want. There we go. Okay, so that's one stage. Now we need our solid fuel boosters. And I'm going to do a number of these. Now the theory is that these solid fuel boosters will get me above the height that these are supposed to activate. You know what? I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, take these off and use these instead. Now they'll fire off sooner, but let's bring those down. This will unlock the mission, but also give us a better chance of doing some of the other missions, because these both have to fire off when the craft is quote-unquote landed. You know what we'll call this instead? We'll call this the RD1, and save it, because this will be our test platform. We'll call the RD craft the craft that we're just doing research and development stuff for. Okay, so our goal. Okay, it looks like our staging is correct. Is we want 12 to 16,000 meters to fire this off. Hopefully these get us high enough. And then 14 to 16,000 meters is when we're going to launch the parachute. Hopefully this works. Let's go ahead and grab our crew. I'm going to get rid of him, and I want another pilot. So we'll get Valentina Kerman. Now, Jebediah didn't get any experience from the last mission, and I don't really expect that Valentina will get experience either. But let's go ahead and do this mission, and we'll launch it. Okay. I'm kind of nervous about how this is going to go, but I think we will get a lot of these missions unlocked. So I'm going to go ahead and thrust up. Well, we'll do it halfway. That's not going to really affect the solid fuel boosters, but let's go ahead and launch. Now this should get us the first part of our research and development test done. So let's go ahead and go. Alright, so we want 12,000 to 16,000 meters to launch our one thing. I don't know if we'll achieve that. As a matter of fact, it might not actually be possible to get the parachute mission this time around either. Because we have to be above 14,000 feet. We have to be going a specific speed as well. Okay, so we got enough meters. I said feet earlier. We got enough meters. Okay, there goes that. So now I have to make sure I'm within that range, 14 to 16,000, and I have to be going a very specific speed, which we actually might not quite achieve. If we escape the atmosphere, I'll do a crew report. Because I think doing one now isn't going to give us anything. Nope. Let's just set the experiment. All right, so let's speed ahead. Okay, I think we're starting to. Oh well, no, we're still going up. That's actually surprising how high we made it, considering that we weren't going for that. Okay, now we're starting to fall. Now our speed has to be very specific. I'm somewhat worried that we'll be going too fast, but as long as we're not going too slow, which it doesn't look like we're going to. Alright, I'm going to slow it down now because we're starting to get within that, closer to that range. Once we pass 16,000, I'm going to activate the parachute. Now that should have done the mission if I understood everything correctly, and I'm pretty sure we were within that speed, which is right here, our meters per second. Pretty sure we were within the speed guideline. So let's keep this going a little bit faster. We'll have to see which missions we completed. It should be at least 3 missions that we've done. I don't think that we did the swivel mount, the swivel fuel engine, liquid fuel engine. And parachute should be opening soon. But this R&D stuff should really help us out with the getting more stuff unlocked as far as science goes, and also giving us the currency to do more complex missions, which is the one thing that we're really lacking right now, is the ability to do the more complex missions, just because of our parts limit being so low is actually very problematic. Okay, so there's that mission done. We're going to go back to the Space Center and recover the mission, and that should have a lot of those okay, there it is. We're going to recover it. Okay, so we didn't get any science from the actual mission, but we do, I'm pretty sure that our science has actually gone up. Parts-wise, we only recovered the command pod, the parachute, and the monopropellant that was in the command pod. and she didn't get any experience. So that's pretty much it. Now let's go back and let's look at mission control and see how many of these missions that we unlocked. That's one thing I wish it kind of would tell you. Alright, so we have active. It looks like, yep, we did complete a number of them because we only have 4 active now, whereas we did have 7. So looks like all of the ones that we thought we unlocked, we did. And we're so close now to getting our upgrade to our vehicle assembly building. We only need a little over 20,000 to be able to do that. So all we really have to do is maybe unlock one of these more difficult, and as we saw there, we got 22,000 for doing that mission. So all we have to do is do one of these more complete one of these more difficult missions, the ones that require a very specific height. So for the thumper, we need to activate it in the air. So that is something we need to do. We need to also do this one at a specific height, and we didn't get high enough, and that's the reason why we weren't able to do it. We did activate the engine, but it was not high enough. And then we have the radial mount parachute, and again, we just need to do that at a certain height, and that's something that we can try. Now that we've done the MK16 parachute, we can try this one, and this seems like a much broader height range, so that should be pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's think about other. Looks like we have more of these ferry missions. You know, honestly, if we do one of these, oh, they don't give us an advance of money. I was gonna say if we pulled one of these, maybe we'd be able to upgrade our parts and be able to take it right now. We have another test here. It is the MK55 Thud liquid fuel engine in flight over Kerbal. So we're gonna take this one, which is gonna give us an advance of 9,300. And then I'm going to take Orbit Kerbal because it's going to give us a big advance. And then we'll be able to take one more mission. And I'm going to leave that mission slot open just for the future so that we're not, kind of stuck. And we should have enough money now to upgrade our vehicle assembly building, which is going to really pay off for us in the future. So we can really do these more complex missions. As a matter of fact, we might even take one of these ferry VIP missions once we unlock that building upgrade. Although that's not going to give us a lot of money to build a craft, so we might do another one of these R&D kind of missions, and then go ahead and resort to that. But that's going to be pretty much it for this video. And as you can see, we still have only gone through 1 hour and 1 minute of game time. So not a lot of time passes even though we've done quite a few missions now. In any case, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner signing out.